It is time for everybody's favorite. I literally think this is nobody's favorite. For the lightning round, it's Kelly's favorite. The late night dive bar music. Yeah, I'd like a Bush draft on draft. What is it? I'd like Bush Light on draft. Is that a thing?
I don't know.
No. Kelly's like, no, those are back in the old days.
I'm not real sure.
That music just sounds like you're like Miller Lite on tap.
Well, to me, it's like, Coors Light in a bottle or something like that.
Feels PBR to me.
Ooh, there we go.
PBR?
Nice
No, because
PBR.
PBR is ironic. PBR is like Weezer now.
There's like a hipster thing with that.
Yeah, it's like really tight jeans and mustaches for PBR.
What was it? Natty Light.
Natty Light. And if you, on tap, that's that music. Yes. And a Marlboro Red just because you have to. You can't drink Natty Light and just have it be in your body.
It's a
you
whole
have
package.
Exactly. It's a 2-for-1. All right, so here we are, lightning round. So we got through the old disgusting beers.
Yes.
Welcome 2023. All right, let's do it.
So this lightning round is about goals and resolutions.
Aw, how cute, how fitting and cute.
It may have been planned.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's my favorite time. I love it.
I know.
love it.
Everybody
I love
gets to start to do over.
I know.
All right. Question 1. Are you ready, Ben? With the timer? What's the difference between goals and resolutions?
I tend to believe resolutions are about an identity change. I'm resolving to take better care of my body. I am resolving to be a better husband. I'm resolving those kind of things. I resolve this year to be on time. A goal is I will leave my house by 7:15 every day. I will lose 25 pounds by February 1st, whatever. So goals are these tangible markers on the way to a resolution. That's the way I look at it.
I like that. I never thought of it that way. You're so smart.
Oh, no, that one guy called me intelligent earlier.
Let's go with smart. Let's
All
start
right,
there.
I'll take that.
All right, second one. I want to read more next year. How can I get into a good habit?
3 things. Number 1, change your identity. I'm a person who reads. That's who I am. And then create some behaviors that are going to back that up. So leave your phone in your car and take a book in with you when you go to Walmart and you're waiting for your oil to get changed. Always. I always have a book on me at all times, 24/7, 365. And even I have one when I'm hunting in the woods. I got a book in my bag. Like I always have a book with me because one of my identities is I'm a guy that reads. The third thing is make it easy. Have a book by your bed. Have your reading environment already set up so it's not so hard. And then I think the fourth thing would be even if you can only read half of a page a day, you're eventually going to get through a book. And so just because you don't have 2 hours to read, or I was going to read an hour this morning and then I got up late, cool, read for 5 minutes. Just read every single day. And over time, if you're a reader, you'll get through more books and you'll begin reading more and more and more. You'll create that space. Practice. That's a better word.
Awesome. Best advice for new dads going into the new year?
Man, the best advice I could give new dads, the advice that saved me was not a hack or not a, hey, you should. It was getting a couple of dads who were 5, 10 years ahead of me, 15 years ahead of me, that I could call and reach out to and ask questions about. The second thing is your experience as a dad is very different than your partner's experience. So listen, stop explaining your experience as the only experience going on in your home. Somebody else is having a totally radically different experience. So commit to listening. So get some mentors, get some people, just some friends who are further along down the road. They'll roll their eyes and laugh at you, or they'll be like, that's not a big deal, or no, you need to stop that right now. You need to get on that one right now. And start listening more. Ta-da.
Yeah. All right. Every year I set a goal to work out more, but I never stick to it. How do I actually follow through?
My workout, I can just say about me personally. It shifted when I had it was a more global conversation with myself. Again, you hear me say this all the time, change your identity. I just decided I was going to be a guy that took better care of his body. I wanted to be a granddad or a great granddad that could roll around with my grandkids on our wrestling mats when I was 90. And so what do I have to do right now? Well, I got to stop eating the way I eat. I got to start sleeping. I got to start doing some of these other things. And so exercise became one piece of a much larger puzzle. It wasn't that I was just like eating McDonald's every day and I was staying up all night and I was late everywhere and then I tried to add working out. That never works. It had to be a part of a bigger shift. The second thing is it didn't really change for me until I got some things at my house that I could do. And for me, it started with a jump rope and a couple of kettlebells, maybe some dumbbells. And then I moved on to like a squat rack I got off Craigslist. And then I moved on to another thing and then another thing. And now I've got a whole set at my house. But I made it really easy. So if I could just do 5 minutes, I'm just going to go do 5 minutes. And that morphed into what it is today.
I want to change my eating habits this year, breaking the cycle of eating more than I need or lots of sweets. Where do I start?
I have had my whole life revolutionized with the Carbon app. And so I'd reach out to those guys, Dr. Lane Norton and that crew, get on the app store. I make no money off this deal. It's just been something that's been really helpful for me. And it is hard on Friday night or Saturday at a party to try to figure out. I hate it. Like I not only hate the app, I hate learning how to be intentional about what I eat. But until you change what you measure, right? And until you track and measure what you're actually eating all the time, it's really hard to be like, I'm just going to think about eating differently. You got to actually follow it. And Carbon app is the best of the best of the best. It's worth the money.
When it comes to goals, I start off strong and then lose steam. How do I stay motivated and accountable?
As you're asking that, I was going to say, have some people that keep you accountable in your life. And this is from James Clear. You're only as good as your systems. You can't always rely on your goals. You're only as good as the systems you've set up for yourself. And so if every day you get off of work and you don't have dinner plans already, or every day you leave for work and you haven't meal prepped, well, you're at the mercy of your calendar, of whatever they're cooking down in the cafeteria, what friend comes by and says, hey, let's go get lunch somewhere. You're at the mercy of everybody else. And so you're only as good as your systems. And so if you want to change the way you eat, you just got to start with, if you want to change your goals, you just got to be highly intentional about the systems you set up to make those goals very easy. Like going back to talking about reading, carry a book with you everywhere. It makes wanting to read more so much easier if you always have a book on you.
What happens when you reach the goals you've set and then you feel lost?
That's usually somebody that's, it has not gone with the identity shift. They've just made a bunch of goals and they thought, when I cross the finish line, then my dad's going to call me out of the blue and say, you know what, I'm proud of you. When I finally make 6 figures, I make $100,000 in a year. Then my old high school girlfriend's going to call and be like, I never should have left. And you'll be like, I know. And I'm going to hang up. As soon as I finally lose 40 pounds, then finally that old boyfriend is going to call and be like, I saw your photos on Facebook. That's never going to happen. That actually might, because men are disgusting. But like, there's this idea that when I accomplish a set of goals, I'm going to feel a certain way. And it simply doesn't play out like that. The data says that so many attorneys who make partner actually have a fall off. They feel like, I gave up my 20s and 30s for this. Like, this is what I gave up for. And so shift your identity first. This is who I am, and here's why. And that has a much longer. Then you're on an adventure. You're not just trying to hit a marker. Does that make sense? I feel like I was rambling a little bit on that one, but I hope that makes sense.
I think it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Although we did think that when your ex-girlfriend calls you and says she never should have broke up was very oddly specific.
Hey, listen. That's for another episode. I haven't run that by my wife. I could tell those stories yet. One day.
All right, next question. How do I help my teenagers learn to set goals?
Oh, there's just one way. Teenagers watch you. And so if you are a disciplined person who creates identity, I would suggest everybody start this new year with an identity board. Here's who we are as a family that goes on the board. Somewhere in your house it's prominent. Here's who we are. And then they watch you live them. And then you provide opportunity for them to live into them as well. But until they see you do it, you're just I almost said piston in the wind, but I thought better about it, and so I didn't say it. Ta-da.
Apparently we need to work on how microphones work. Anywho. All right.
Anywho.
How do I encourage my spouse to stay on top of their goals?
if I was your spouse, I wouldn't want to work on my goals if that was your attitude. Honestly, you can't. You can't. You can only control you. You can be very disciplined in taking care of yourself and making sure that you are creating space where people feel where their needs are met. I guess the one thing you could do, and I'm thinking this out loud, you can ask, what do you need from me to make it possible for you to be able to do the things that you need to do to stay well? And so I've got a series of things in my house that I keep. Like if I see dishes in the sink, then I try to just stop what I'm doing and just knock them out, because I know that gives my wife not only 5 minutes of doing the dishes, but it gives her 10 minutes of thinking about it, and then she has to schedule it between grabbing the kids and doing it. And so it ends up the domino effect ends up opening a lot of her day. So what can I do to help meet your needs so that you can help take care of yourself? But other than that, I can't make anybody. Nagging, complaining, those things never, ever, ever work. In fact, they cause the opposite.
All right, last one. What are the goals you and your team have set for 2023?
What are y'all's goals?
Checkmate.
Everybody looked down like, it was like the math teacher, like, all right, we're going to talk about equations. And everyone just like looked at the floor, hoping they don't get called on.
Am I going first? I'll go first. Okay. I never really do goals. Maybe it's just because I've never
you are
stuck
the
with
associate
them.
producer of this show now. You have to.
I know.
Okay,
I have to.
let's throw goals out.
Okay. Well, I have one in my mind of what I want to do.
Okay.
It's just the following through part that I always trail off. I'm in that group of like, oh, I set big goals January. Come February 1st, they're gone.
Okay.
So we'll see. But I have never really had like a nightly or a morning routine. And I find that I just feel tired and dragged through the day because like I get up in the morning and I just hit snooze like 10 times. And then I get up and I rush through getting ready. I don't eat breakfast and I go out the door. So I'd like to develop some sort of structure where I have like, okay, by this time I'll do this. And then I eat breakfast because, apparently that's important. And see if it helps my my energy levels throughout the day. That's a pretty long goal, I guess.
So what if we, instead of focusing on that goal first, what is an identity that goes beyond that?
I don't know.
Like, I want to be the best version of myself I can be. I'm a person who shows up at work ready to go.
Yes, I think so. Because I find myself in the boat of like, I get here like 8:05. Like I just want to be able to be somebody who gets to work at a prompt time and I have like a set schedule.
But you see how all those things work together. So
yes.
Maybe it's, I am a person who wants to show up at work ready to rock and roll. And so
Perfect.
Backing that up, we all know that like hitting snooze has a whole biochemical cascade that just it ruins your day.
Yeah,
it really does.
It does.
And so does not, maybe for some of people not eating breakfast and not exercising and not whatever the series of steps are.
Right.
But I'm just the kind of woman who shows up ready to rock and roll.
There we go.
That's a new Jenna. Do what?
We're going to be clipping that. I'm just the kind of woman that shows up ready to rock and roll, by the way. That will come back to haunt you.
John Delony.
That's on the internet.
It's now on the
That is
internet.
there
Yeah, we already put it up there.
out in the world.
Awesome. All right. Anybody else?
I wasn't prepared to answer this question, but one thing is that my goal is to finish my novel
Okay.
this year. And so the identity piece that you're talking about is that I am a writer, a person that writes. And so in order to do that, I have to write.
Because writers write every day.
Yes. And so like George R.R. Martin, he's written great stuff. I don't consider him a writer because he doesn't sit down and write. You know what I'm saying? We're still waiting on that 10th book or whatever.
Yes.
Stephen King writes 2,000 words a day.
Every day.
And so he's a writer.
He's got a new book every day. That's
Yeah,
right.
every
There you
day.
go. So in 2023, Ben is a writer.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And
Manifesting it.
the lead singer of Dump Button. All right.
Ours has been, or mine, my husband and I have been working on changing our identity around health-wise. And he's had some health issues that have affected our lives and our marriage. And we have decided we really want to change that. So we want to be a couple that that is healthy and that travels, and that we'll have an empty nest here in about 2
Mhm.
years, somewhere in the next couple years, and we want to be able to go and do things and not be held back by that. So we did what you talked about earlier. We have outfitted our bonus room upstairs for everything we need,
Hmm.
with weights and the rowing machine and all of that stuff. And we're slowly starting to do some things. The last couple weeks have kind of knocked us off kilter a
Sure.
bit. So just being intentional about our habits and supporting each other more in that, which we haven't always done.
Ah. So I love the idea of saying, okay, we got 2 years to empty nesters to celebrate and grieve being empty nesters. We're going somewhere and we want to be able to do the following things there. And so how much money do we need to have 24 months out? How much, if we're going to be hiking, we got to be in this kind of shape, right? We want to have this kind of, chicka wah wah. So I want it, right? Whatever. And so like, I love the idea of just simply putting on a calendar and reverse engineering. It doesn't sound as sexy as let's just go to Italy. I'm like, yeah, that's just not how the world works, only in Hollywood. That would be incredible. I mean, you set yourself up for 24 months. They're going to be tough and hard, and a trip that's going to be incredible. Dude, good for you.
Thanks.
All right. Andrew's just staring down. All right. Here's. I'll save you. All right. Here's mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 categories here. 2 supersede the category. Supersede all of the categories. One is pathologically, insanely on time, always, forever. I'm making that my number one priority. And so I have to reverse engineer every other part of my life to go through that funnel. Weirdly, that means that I have to turn my phone off the night before, and I can't turn it back on until I'm at work because I just find myself down a vortex, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I will have to be pathologically on time. That means I'm going to have to be very early to things for a long time until I practice and learn. The second thing is simplicity, anti-clutter, anti-chaos. As I've been working and writing this new book on creating a non-anxious life, I keep coming to the literature that talks about how clutter and all the crap we have at our houses just are burying us. How much we always have headphones in our ears. All those things. So anti-clutter and anti-chaos, simplicity. Next is more adventures. And that's everything from concerts to late night trips to hunting trips to travel. I'm just going to go be more adventurous. I found myself getting kind of boring. And so we're just going to go take a midnight run and we're going to go do something fun. Loneliness. I found myself really lonely after all the travel and writing this year. So friends, connection, doing things with new folks, making new friends. My wife and I have some internal, we want to continue to be the best married couple we can be. And so we're going to have some very direct goals about sex and intimacy. And that means we talk about it openly, which is kind of part of the fun. We have some financial goals, some big things we want to buy and save for, et cetera. And then for work. And I guess the goals for our team, man, to blow the lid off this show, off both the podcast and the YouTube show, and to make some really remarkable leaps in how many people we're able to just serve and help across the globe. And the show's just grown like crazy this year. And that's 100% thanks to you all listening. And the goal now is to start 2x, 3x, 5x, 10xing it all. And we got some cool things coming down the way that I think are going to get us there. So thank you so much for sticking with us. This is the New Year's episode. Who are you going to be this year? Who are you going to be? And what are the things you're going to do on a daily basis, a weekly, monthly basis that are going to get you that are going to direct you towards the person you want to become?